Islands of Adventure is about to go through the biggest transformation in theme park history. Hello everybody, welcome. More than half of Islands of Adventure will be completely different in the coming years, making this park virtually unrecognizable. Universal theme parks are on fire. Growth is off the charts, revenue is through the roof, and guest satisfaction is at an all-time high. With Epic Universe leading the charge and making headlines, it can be easy to forget about Universal's most popular and most profitable park, and that is none other than Universal's Islands of Adventure. When Universal's Islands of Adventure opened on May 28th of 1999, it was way more than just a second gate for Universal. It was a statement. Universal was no longer okay with just being a movie studio tour with a few rides attached. It was entering a new era, one where immersive storytelling, blockbuster intellectual properties, and cutting-edge technology would redefine what it means to be a modern-day theme park. And here we are more than 25 years later, and Islands of Adventure's influence and its impact can be seen and felt everywhere. The DNA of Islands of Adventure essentially became the blueprint for Universal's brand new Epic Universe. And with the exception of a few improved enhancements and a couple of new rides and attractions, namely Velocicoaster, the King Kong attraction, and of course, Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade area, the other portals and the other areas of the park have really sat largely unchanged. When Islands of Adventure first opened, it had 6 primary areas: Port of Entry, Marvel Superhero Island, Toon Lagoon, Jurassic Park, the Lost Continent, and Seuss Landing. And then later they added the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade. And over the next few years, Islands of Adventure is facing a massive transformation that is just going to completely change everything about this park. It is going to be almost unrecognizable from what it was on opening day. Let's go land by land and talk about what is going to be coming. First of all, we have the Lost Continent. There's been a lot of speculation on what is coming to this area. We've talked about this in previous videos as well. All indicators right now are leading to Pokemon being the front runner for replacing this area. A couple of other things on the table: Zelda potentially, One Piece, some people even saying possibly Lord of the Rings. But right now, it looks like it is going to be Pokemon, which is going to be leading the charge in this transformation. The former Sinbad building has already been demolished, and Poseidon's Fury is now being demolished as well. And the Mythos restaurant is permanently closing, and they're going to be completely gutting and smashing this land into oblivion and creating something completely new. All original indicators that it might just be some sort of retheme for some of the attractions and rides, that's all out the window. It is completely being flattened and starting over, which really tells us that Pokemon is probably the #1 thing probably coming here, because Nintendo definitely would want carte blanche to replace everything and make it a fully immersive land similar to Super Nintendo World over there in Epic Universe and some other parks. Right now, it looks like we're going to get 2 primary attractions in this Pokemon area, one in the Sinbad area, one in Poseidon's Fury, and obviously one brand new restaurant that is going to be replacing Mythos, alongside a handful of other shops, maybe a third smaller type attraction, and certainly lots of different options for food. But this is the land that is the furthest along, and we know for a fact it is going to be changing. But there are a lot of other things on the table that we expect to be coming very soon. Let's move over now to Seuss Landing. What is going to happen with Seuss Landing? To keep it short, pretty much nothing. I don't think anything is going to be happening to Seuss Landing. That is an awesome, absolutely awesome island. It is very kid-friendly. It is one of the most impressively themed areas in all of Islands of Adventure. Yes, it has primarily smaller kids attractions, nothing like super intense or super innovative, but it is a fantastic land in its own right. If you look at the details of that land, they are spectacular, bar none. When they designed that area, they wanted to make sure that there were no straight lines anywhere in that land. So if you look at everything from the fencing to the garbage cans to the queues to the building structures, everything has wavy, curved type lines, slanted lines. There's really not any straight lines to be found anywhere in that themed land, and I just think that's spectacular. What I do think is going to change there is it's going to need a refurb. It does need an update. Some of the paint is looking pretty bad. They tend to sort of repaint it here and there over the years, but I think it does badly need a refresh. It needs to be cleaned up. The rides need to be tweaked a little bit and improved. A fresh coat of paint would do that place wonders. But other than that, I don't see a lot happening with that land. It's already amazing as is. Now I want to talk about Toon Lagoon. Toon Lagoon is going to be going away. This is something that I expect to be getting replaced in the coming years. Right now, it is a large area of land that only has 2 water attractions in it, some stores, some restaurants. Some of the restaurants are only open for a couple of hours a week. There really is not a lot happening in that space. The 2 water attractions, Popeyes and Dudley Do-Rights, are spectacular water rides if you want to get completely soaked. Like, there's going to be no better place to go other than a water park if you want to be drowned in water. They are great attractions. But there's also a large amphitheater when you first enter Toon Lagoon that's not being used for anything. So there is a lot of space here that we could use, prime real estate. And Toon Lagoon really is old, I mean, very old comic book, very old cartoons that really aren't relevant today to anybody who goes there. It's not even really nostalgic for anybody at this point because a lot of people don't really have heart for even the characters there anymore. They just aren't relevant. And so that entire area, though the attractions are nice, really isn't living up to its potential at this point. There's a couple of things that I expect to happen here. One is, I think, retheming the rides, just changing the theme of the land itself, keeping the 2 water rides intact, and then doing something with that amphitheater space, like creating a new show there, or bulldozing it and putting a new, maybe e-ticket type attraction, which that land desperately needs, because right now it's all water. It'd be nice to see some sort of land-based, non-water attraction. That would be a perfect place to put it. The most likely candidates for the IP refresh are going to be, of course, Spongebob Squarepants. That is a hugely popular IP. I don't know how relevant it is anymore. I don't know if kids still love it or not, but it was huge maybe 10, 15 years ago, and it's still going strong today. I think people have a lot of love for SpongeBob. Adults and kids, big fans of SpongeBob, and they just created a SpongeBob area at the Universal Kids Resort, which I think leaves a lot to be desired. I think there's been a lot of negative backlash around that kids resort, but nevertheless, it is a strong IP that they have put money in and have now created sort of a small land around. They could very easily create a Bikini Bottom in Toon Lagoon, which I think would be an awesome decision if they go that direction. Keep it themed water rides. SpongeBob SquarePants fits perfectly there, and then maybe some sort of SpongeBob e-ticket attraction in there could be really phenomenal. Of course, another big contender would be the Dreamworks property, the Dreamworks IPs. You've got things like Shrek and Kung Fu Panda and Trolls. However, my only thing about Dreamworks coming to that space is we already have a lot of Dreamworks representation throughout Universal Studios, Universal Kids Resort, a lot of different places. I just don't know that we need another Dreamworks space there. I don't feel like that would be the right move. So it is possible that Dreamworks would come there. I just don't know if that's going to be it. 2 other possibilities. One is replacing it with One Piece. We've heard a lot of rumors about One Piece potentially coming to Islands of Adventure. It was once considered to be a potential option for the Lost Continent replacement. One Piece is going absolutely insane and just gangbusters across the world. The Universal Fan Fest nights always go crazy when One Piece is there. So I do think One Piece is coming somewhere. Toon Lagoon would be a good option. Lots of water rides. One Piece is pirates, One Piece is on water, so water makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't want to just see only water attractions with One Piece again. I would want some sort of large e-ticket attraction like a coaster or some sort of dark ride attraction that would be awesome. And again, replacing that show building area there that's not being used, plenty of space for something new. The last one is Looney Tunes with the sort of Warner Brothers and the acquisition by Paramount and things being up in the air. I think Looney Tunes could maybe be a replacement there. I just think that's also kind of an old IP that doesn't feel relevant to me anymore, so I don't know if that would be in the cards. I probably wouldn't be excited about a Looney Tunes, but I think it's possible. Just not probable and not something that I would like to see. Now let's move over to Jurassic Park. What is going to be happening with that land? I will say not much, because there's tons of stuff already happening right now with that. Obviously, they got that huge influx with the Jurassic Park Velocicoaster, which is one of the best roller coasters in the world, bar none. And now they are also refurbishing Jurassic Park River Adventure, the big water attraction there. They also, of course, have the Raptor Encounter and lots of great food and themes, and they have the King Kong Skull Island. But the Jurassic Park River Adventure, again, one of the biggest attractions there, a great ride in my opinion. We don't have complete details on what's happening with River Adventure, but it is completely being redone. Everything about that is being improved, changed, replaced. My expectation has always been it will stay Jurassic Park. It's not going to go to Jurassic World, but I was hoping we'd get some new effects and some new elements like their Jurassic World version over in Universal in California, because in my opinion, that version of the ride is better than the one in Islands of Adventure. I think it's more impressive. I think it has more effects. It's got great dinosaur effects. It even uses digital screens, I think, in a very clever, creative way. I'm expecting, hopefully, we get more improvements to that attraction other than just now the dinosaurs move instead of just sitting still because they're broken. Right next door is the Harry Potter Wizarding World there with Hogsmeade. That's a pretty quick one. I don't think anything's going to happen with that. I don't think anything's going to change about that. It's firing on all cylinders. We already have a lot of Harry Potter attractions and themed areas. Universal Studios, Diagon Alley, Epic Universe, and the Ministry of Magic there, and we know we're getting a new attraction at Ministry of Magic at Epic Universe. I don't think we're going to be getting anything right now in Hogsmeade. It doesn't need to change. It's perfect as is. It just needs to stay exactly the way it is. But the other big one that's been hanging out there for everybody, always talking about it, is what is going to go on with Marvel Superhero Island. There has been a lot of discussion about this changing over to DC Universe. Let's talk a little bit quickly about the history. The reason that people think Marvel is potentially going to go away here soon is because Marvel is obviously now owned by Disney. Yes, Universal has rights to Marvel in Florida, in this area. Disney can't do anything with it right now, which is a great sort of bottleneck for Disney to not be able to capitalize on Marvel in their parks in Disney World. They can still capitalize on Marvel in Disneyland, but they just can't do anything in Disney World right now. So Universal kind of has them over a barrel in a sense with that, which is kind of nice. However, the problem is that Disney also kind of has them over a barrel. So it's like this tug of war predicament that they're in where they're both kind of stalemated. So Disney can't do anything with Marvel unless Universal gives up and says you can take it. Universal can't really do anything because they're not really allowed to create new things. They're just allowed to hold on to the things that they have, and if something breaks, they can fix it, but they can't really dramatically retheme it. They can't make significant improvements or changes. It really is what it is. So Marvel Superhero Island is essentially stuck in time. Nothing can change. It will be what it is, which is a great land. It's a great area. The Spider-Man attraction is still one of the best attractions of all time, even today. Hulk is a fantastic roller coaster. Dr. Doom's is and Storm Force Accelerators is also So it's got two really strong rides and two okay rides, but there's just really not more that they can do with it. So if they want to really reimagine this land and improve things dramatically, potentially even replace attractions, they gotta look at another IP, and DC is obviously gonna fit the bill. It's a superhero franchise, it replaces Marvel. You might argue that Marvel is more popular than DC, but either way, there's still tons of fan base for DC and DC Universe. The thing that's been holding them back is the Warner Brothers Six Flags agreement that explicitly states that Six Flags has rights to all intellectual property with regards to DC and some other properties as well for theme park rights, which means nobody else can do anything other than in Las Vegas. That contract explicitly states that Las Vegas is off the table, but anywhere else, Six Flags has exclusive rights to DC. However, as of 2024 in the latest SEC filings, I'll show it here on the screen, that has been amended, that has been changed, and there's a new player in town. The new agreement says the combined company holds exclusive long-term theme park usage rights except for the Las Vegas metropolitan area and the state of Florida. The state of Florida is new in this licensing agreement. That was changed in 2024, which completely opens the door for Florida And any theme parks in Florida, or anyone who wants to do something with those from a theme park perspective, opens the door for them to do something. And we know that Warner Brothers has been in conversations with Universal about potentially bringing DC into their parks. Six Flags has been doing kind of an okay job with using the DC properties. I would say they just do okay, not really a whole lot with it. More than likely, Warner Brothers has always sort of been somewhat disappointed. I think Warner Brothers would love to see more themed, immersive lands built like Universal can do with their DC properties, instead of some light theming on roller coasters. It's just not really been done well. And since Six Flags, a lot of their parks are closing, they're not planning on opening any new parks in Florida specifically. Warner Brothers probably pushed back on Six Flags and says, hey, do you mind if we take the Florida rights out of this equation? We'd love to see something done here. And Six Flags probably just was like, whatever, and they rolled over because they really don't have any plans for the state of Florida. So now with this change, yes, other theme parks are definitely open to negotiating with Warner Brothers, but it looks like Universal is probably the front runner to get hold of these DC universe, these DC characters, the rights to them from a theme park perspective. The only reason I think we haven't seen movement already on this is because of the Warner Brothers and Paramount sort of buyout or the merger there. Because of that situation and that being not finalized, I think that happening has sort of like put the brakes on any conversations or negotiations happening. I think as soon as the Paramount deal goes through and is locked in and finalized and has passed all the international checks and everything it has to pass, I think as soon as that happens, you're going to start to see some movement on DC coming to some theme park, most likely Universal. And my bet is it's going to be here at Marvel Superhero Island. It's going to be replacing that. And I think that would be a great move because then they can actually invest in that land now. They can upgrade it. They can potentially get rid of some of the weaker performing attractions and maybe replace them with something new. They could even potentially expand it into Toon Lagoon, that area, again, that amphitheater story we were talking about that's in Toon Lagoon. You could easily wrap that into the Marvel Superhero Island area and extend that and then put another e-ticket DC Universe attraction there. I think that would also be really cool. So if you look at all their parks, Epic Universe just absolutely crushing it. It's going crazy, it's expanding, it's doing fantastic. Universal Studios got Fast and Furious coming to the park with a brand new roller coaster. You've got the Fast and Furious Supercharged being rethemed probably to Back to the Future. Also possibly new attractions coming there for classic movies, like maybe even a Jaws attraction. So now it's time to look at Islands of Adventure. Islands of Adventure is one of the best theme parks in the world, and it's about to enter its next level. So I want to know what you think. Islands of Adventure, the transformation, it is happening. It's on its way. It's going to be unrecognizable in a few years. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Are you here for it? Are you going to be sad to see Toon Lagoon go, Marvel Superhero Island go and transform into something else? What do you think's coming to Lost Continent? Love to hear from you down in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and thanks so much for watching this video. Until I see you next time, the Noble Way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.